Hey everyone, this is the Love of Cinema podcast. We like to talk movies. If you like to talk movies too, you come to the right place.
But when I was going up the stairs, I was thinking Amitabh Bachchan. The door opened, there was a poster of Sridevi in front of me. In his house. That is his office house. And I went and sat and he came and it just slipped out of my mind, out of my mouth, Do you know Sridevi? So he said, puppy like house. Puppy like house means puppy is a pet name. She's like ghar ki baat hai. What do you want to make? So I remembered my dad कि तू करके आना, sign करके आना. So instead of saying कि sir, give me 6 months, I'll work on a script. I just said ChaalBaaz, double roll.
Chances are, if you're a Sridevi fan, ChaalBaaz is your favorite Sridevi film. ChaalBaaz was also Sridevi's favorite among her films. An age-old story of identical twin sisters separated at birth, but an immensely rewatchable and entertaining comedy. The kind of film where the snappy lines still land, the gags still work, and the chartbusters still wipe. Put on ChaalBaaz randomly, and you will most probably end up watching the entire film. This is Himanshu, and you're listening to the Love of Cinema podcast. But before moving on, an important reminder. If you enjoy organic conversations centered on Indian cinema, Love of Cinema podcast was created for people just like you. So if you enjoy the pod, please do consider supporting the show. Love of Cinema podcast is my labor of love. And with every episode, I've attempted to create something that cinephiles will continue to find value, not just today, but over time as well. If you find value in the conversations on the podcast, please do consider supporting the show. Your support will help me continue creating content with shelf life for fans of Indian cinema everywhere. You'll find the link to support the show in the show notes. You can also support the show directly from the podcast website. It's fast, it's easy, and your support is greatly appreciated. Coming back to today's episode, I was delighted to have director Pankuj Parashar back on the podcast to talk about ChaalBaaz. We did an episode on Pankuj's early films sometime back, where we talked about his madcap comedies Ab Aayega Maza and Pichha Karo, as well as the slick action drama Jalwa. In case you haven't listened to that episode, do check out episode number 24. On this episode, we jammed for an hour just on ChaalBaaz. Pankuj talked about how ChaalBaaz was born thanks to the impression that Jalwa had made even before its release, how the great ensemble of actors he had on the film played off each other, often elevating their game, and how two women who had pretty much grown up on film sets from a very early age, Sridevi from age 4 and Saroj Khan from age 10, played a big role in the film's success. Plus, many stories around casting, music of the film, shooting of the songs, and the iconic lines from the film. And of course, memories of Sridevi. Amba, Balma, and everything in between. All things ChaalBaaz. Here goes. Hey Pankaj, how are you doing?
All good, all good.
Thank you so much, Pankaj, for coming back on the podcast. I know last time we did this, we talked about Jalwa, we talked about Ab Aayega Maza, as well as Pichha Karo. And today we'll be talking about ChaalBaaz. I was watching ChaalBaaz a few days ago, and, I just put it on, quite randomly, and I watched it till the end. And I thought, oh my God, we got to talk about ChaalBaaz now. So I'm really glad that we are doing this today. And I wanted to start with something, you mentioned last time you were on the podcast, where you mentioned that after Jalwa, producer Purna Chandra Roy approached
Rao.
you to... Rao, yes. Sorry, my
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
Yes, Rao. Approached you to make a movie. And for those that don't know, Rao, of course, was a legendary big producer from Andhra, produced many Telugu hits. I think he also produced Andha Kanun and Akhri Rasta, which was a huge hit.
Yeah.
So let's start there. Can you start talking about how ChaalBaaz happened in the first place?
See, there are a series of coincidences, but then, like I say, every film has its own Janampatri, you know. आप कुछ और, like John Lennon said, if you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. He has some other plan. My dad was very friendly with Rishikesh Mukherjee. Rishikesh Mukherjee was the chairman of the censor board. And Purnachandra, I think one of his films was stuck because there was some cuts or something like that, which were he Purnachandra thought they were not necessary, whatever. So he got my dad's number and he called him and he said, "K, you are friendly with Rishida. I'm so and so speaking. So do me a favor, just put my case to him. Let him decide what it is. But this particular censor cut that he doesn't probably know about it because there's a team of people who see the movie. There are 8, 10 people below the chairman of the censor board, and they've made some arbitrary decision which doesn't have any logic to it. And they are not replying to me. It was stuck, bureaucracy. And my dad was making a movie with Rishida, with Raj Babbar and Anita Raj. So my dad told him, "Okay, boss, this is what he's talking is logic." So Rishida picked up the phone and asked about that to the people. So they said, "No, sorry." So Rishida said, "What kind of people are you? Why are you cutting these particular scenes? It doesn't make any sense, viewing." So he waived that. So Purnachandra thanked my dad. Now, as it is in South, he called my dad to say what you want in return, which means in monetary terms. My dad laughed and he said, "Look, I'm a filmmaker. Understand your problem. So please don't feel obliged about anything." And the matter then went to sleep. I mean, Purnachandra, whichever film, I don't know, remember which one. I think couple of years later, a little more, I signed Jalwa and I'd gone to Prasad. There is a process which is not there now, which is called print checking. Each print is run and there are people who watch it to make sure there is nothing wrong with it. So if you're releasing like Jalwa was 60 prints, 70 prints, so they would run that. And what happens there is a chain inside the laboratory, which you call it, of projectionists, and the word goes out that this movie is something different. And South, they love new technique and things like that. So Jalwa mein kuch tha, kuch cheezein thi. And the word got around to the owner of Prasad Studio, which is the doyen, the big filmmaker L.V. Prasad, who made Vidai and dozens of films. So he came to see it. I didn't know he was watching it. So I dropped it. I watched a interval. And then when it finished, I was in the canteen. They asked for me that Prasad sir wants to see you. So I went there and he tapped me on the shoulder and he said, good job. And I touched his feet because it's a great thing. And I was, I think, all of 28, 29 that time. He went and called up Purnachandra Rao and told them that you're making good South remakes, you're making this, but you want to make something special that will be remembered, call this guy. I owe everything to everybody. So he called Purnachandra. Purnachandra said, "Oh, I know his dad." So Purnachandra called my dad and told him that I want to meet your son. I might want to do a movie with him. He didn't say. So my dad called me and said, "Look, son, this is Purnachandra Rao. Okay, now you're going to get one meeting with him. You don't go and give him Gyan of Film Institute and art cinema and that, don't try and teach him anything because you're just fresh out of Jalwa and you've done Karamchand. So whatever you say, he says, you say yes. If it says this remake, this film, this Hollywood film, this Tamil film, whatever, you say yes." So I said, "Dad, okay, but what if he says, what do you want to make?" So he says, "Your meeting is at 12 o'clock. It's now 11:30. You got half an hour to think what you want to make." He, because Purnachandra Rao was in Santa Cruz, which is Khar, which is like 1 mile
Right.
from my house. And he had a flight to catch at 3.
And we are
So I rushed
talking
to his
around
house.
1988,
This is 87.
87.
Yeah. It is half of 87, I think, after it. And I bought a new car. So I was very fond of that car and I drove to his house and then I went. And I was thinking that this man is close to Amitabh Bachchan. So I will make something with Amitabh. No, what do I make? I could not, I was racking my brain because तो ऐसा नहीं था कि I had to have a script. Obviously, from his point of view, he don't expect me to come with a shooting script. But when I was going up the stairs, I was thinking Amitabh Bachchan. The door opened, there was a poster of Sridevi in front of me in his house. That is his office house. And I went and sat, and he came, and it just slipped out of my mind, out of my mouth. Do you know Sridevi? So he says, "Puppy like house." Puppy like house means puppy is a pet name. She's like घर की बात है. What do you want to make? So I remembered my dad कि तू करके आना, sign करके आना. So I, instead of saying कि sir, give me 6 months, I'll work on a script, I just said Chalbaaz, double role. Because that was the lowest hanging fruit. You take a heroine who's right on top, who's a fantastic artist like her, and you give her a double role. So automatically it becomes an exciting proposal in one line. It was an elevator pitch. He says, okay. And he called, he took him a split second. Obviously, he knew what he was doing. I said, let's do Sita Gita. So he called Venkat, who's his production manager, and told him something in Telugu. And then one envelope came, it had 11,000 in it. I didn't open it. He said, this signing, I'm going to pay you this much. And on 15 weeks, I'll pay you this much. 25 weeks, I'll pay you this much. I said, thank you, sir. And two conditions are there. Who's a music writer? He told me. I said, Anand Milan. Who's writing lyrics? I said, Samir. Now, Anand Milan, I had introduced.
Yes.
Samir and me were buddies from day one since he came to Bombay. Now he's in the Guinness Book of Records. He's written the maximum amount of songs in the world. He wrote, he used to write jingles for me for 33 rupees earlier on. So we knew each other for 5, 6, 7 years, you know.
Samir's debut wasn't Ab Aayega Mazar, right?
No, it was not his debut. He had written something before. But yeah, one of his major, because Lata Mangeshkar, Kishore Kumar, and Ab Aayega Mazar. But he had written something before. But his debut was a ad film called Pupsi Gripe Water, which I got to him. And I paid him 33 rupees for that. We all got 33 rupees for it. Anand was a music director and I was the director of that.
What was this ad for?
Pupsi Gripe Water.
Oh, Gripe Water. Okay.
And it was never made. Only the jingle was recorded. But we got paid 100 rupees for it. So he's a good friend till today. So he said, no, sir. In my company, Lakshmikant Parallel, Anand Bakshi. I said, okay. I mean, that's fine with me. And the hero will be Jitendra and Rajnikant. I said, okay, sir. So he said, tomorrow or day after, I'll give you the dates. And that's when I got a shock. Because you're talking about Sridevi, Rajnikant, and Jitendra. They have not heard the story. They don't know the movie is being made. And this man is saying in 24 hours, I'll get you the shooting dates. Next day, Venkat came to my house and gave me an envelope. In that, there were dates. They were actual Sridevi, not Rajnikant and Jitendra. Sridevi's dates were there. He phoned her. She was in USA. Phoned her and told her this movie. She had obviously seen some of my work. I don't know. But she trusted him because he was the biggest producer down south. And Sita Gita she'd seen. Of course, she heard the story later on. That's another. So I said, okay. And then Jitendra didn't do the film because he thought that I'm making Sita Gita, and he was a very good friend of my dad. So he told me, look, boss, you are just doing Sita Gita. Think something new. You've done Karamchand, you've done Jalwa. Why do you want to make Sita Gita? Think of something out of the box. So I told Purnachandar, he's saying like that. So he's saying, then let's not take him. Let's take Sunny Deol. That's how Sunny Deol came into it. Also, Sridevi kind of hinted, that I've done a lot of movies with Jituji. And if she told Purnachandar that if he's going to make a fresh movie and he's going to think out of the box because he's a young guy, तो कुछ नया लाएगा, तो why are you taking Jituji? Take somebody younger. तो वहां से भी hint आया था. So Sunny Deol was taken. And that's it. Then we went and wrote it.
So let me ask you this, Pankaj. So so you said you saw Sridevi's poster, and the idea of double role came in your head, and that's why you said something like Sita or Gita. Now, is Sita or Gita one of your favorite films, or is that a film that you're fond of?
Obviously, because that was a film we all loved.
Okay.
And I saw it in college, and it was great fun. And it was obviously it was Ram or Sham. Ram or Sham was a remake of an MGR film. MGR film was a remake of a Corsican brother film. So there is a whole. It's like Romeo and Juliet. There are different.
Yeah,
it's like a rag.
Yeah.
All of them are same, but it's a rag. If you're playing rag Yaman, you play it the way you want it.
Improvise.
And what happened? Yeah, lots of it. What happened was when I went one fine day, I think a month after that, Sridevi came from abroad and she told Purnachandra, I want to hear the narration. Purnachandra didn't assume that I have not done any work on it. Abhi, bhai, humne likhi ka hai kahani. I was doing a lot of ads. I was really, TV commercials, all that. So I was happy I signed movies. कोई काम नहीं किया उस पे. Suddenly says she wants to meet you. So I went to meet her in SL studio. And she comes into the makeup room with feathers and a blue dress and blue contacts. And she sits in front of me, looks like a goddess. And she says, tell. So, क्या tell? Then she turned to Purnachandra. Purna said, tell us the story. तो मैं मेरे हाथ ठंडे हो गए. मैं बोला कहानी तो है नहीं. So I plucked up my courage and I told her the story of Sita Gita. पूरी की पूरी. And she laughed and reacted and everything. And it was like a magical moment, because she was 2 feet from me. This is the number one star listening to something that I'm narrating. And then she told him something in Telugu. He says, okay, you wait out. I went to wait out. That wait outside was like a terrifying 5 minutes, but kya bolegi? Then he came and then he said, go to farmhouse. I said, what did she say? And she liked it. She's doing it. To go to farmhouse with your writers, his farmhouse in Chennai. So we flew down. Rajesh Majumdar, who's written 30 Golden Jubilees of Dada Kondke, and Kamlesh Pandey. And then Kamla San was a good friend in the sense that when I was doing Karamchand, he had called me and we had dinner and he expressed that he liked Karam. How did I take that shot, this shot, that? So he was kind of, I said, I'm here in the farmhouse and I'm writing this. So what are you making? I said, Sita Gita, very good, Sridevi is in it and all that. I told him, I said, Jituji told me this, he scared me, that you can't make the same damn movie. So Kamla San told me his golden words I'll never forget. He said, don't change the Bible. I've done 8 or 9 double roles, I know that format. If you change the Bible, you'll fall. You're going wrong. मैंने सुना है ना 2-3 दिन काम जो किया था वो सुना है उनको. He says, you are not Ramesh Sippy. She is not Hema Malini. You got Anupam Kher, you got Shakti Kapoor, all that. It automatically will be different. There's Lakshmikant Parla. तुम बनाओ उसको अपना टच डालो कॉमेडी अपने आप आएगी सब कुछ तुम अपने आप करो. So I listened to him and I did that. And after 10 days I called him and narrated to him. He says good, I like it, all the best. He was like obviously he's a master, no? So उनको I had a bouncing board. Then we came back. And the fun part is neither Rajnikant nor Sunny Deol nor Sridevi ever heard the story. The full script was never there. There was not a bound script ever.
They just knew that this was similar to Sita or Gita.
They trusted me. They trusted Purnachandra or Sridevi had. अच्छा श्रीदेवी आज for जलवा उसका कसेट भेजो तो मैंने भेजा उनको तो उसमें जो रोहिणी का रोल है रोहिणी is called Sri Baby in that. So I was doing मस्ती मुझे क्या पता I'm going to work with Sridevi next. I
yes,
didn't
I'm
have
going to
a
ask you
clue.
about that as well. Yeah.
हाँ so she was called Sri Baby and she was a vamp. She was a killer. So anyway, I asked her later on. She said I had a good laugh. उसमें क्या है? Then she called Purnachandra and she said, this guy is different, definitely. So she was chilled. कि कुछ नया करते हैं. Sunny Deol, of course, knew that his role is small, so he adjusted to that, but he did what he had to do. Rajnikant was a revelation. I just didn't expect him to take off with the comedy scene. We didn't. We treated him as an action hero. We never treated him as somebody who can do comedy. But the first day he was doing things, he was, his attitude was कि इसमें तो मैं कुछ कर नहीं सकता सामने. He used to call us Srideva. He used to fold hands and say Srideva. So, and they were jamming like crazy when they were rehearsing. I said, Rajnikant sir, this is you. She said, I've done 30 movies with her. I've worked with her for so long. So I know her pulse. So that helped.
So, Pankaj, we got to talk about Sridevi. Her comedy, her comic timing. I always thought that Sridevi was so good at comedy because she did something very unique, in my opinion. Something which she would later on carry over to Roop Ki Rani or Choro Ka Raja, as well as much later in Judai, which is this way that, she combined little elements of like deadpan comedy with a high pitched voice of hers and these things she did with her eyes, like rolling them in so many different ways. What was Sridevi's secret sauce to comedy? Why do you think she was so good at comedy?
There are several ingredients that have to come into an actor to reach that level. It is like Sachin Tendulkar. There have to be a lot of things, So one thing is that she started at the age of 4. Second is that she didn't have this crowding of her brain of an education in school where they hammer you and teach you 10 subjects and then you know you're good at some, bad at some. So she had no fear of life in the sense that everything she did was successful. She was taught by a private tutor, whatever, she did learn English on her own and all that. तो एक ये था कि जैसे पुराने जमाने में गुरुकुल होता था ना, where you take a kid and see what he's good at and teach him that. Now, I was taught French and I was taught civics, which is of for what, because I used to get less marks and I used to feel complex. तो ये उसमें था नहीं. और एक emotional basic intelligence she was born with, intuitive. Without that, no matter whom you train, you cannot be an actor. Like a Nasiruddin Shah, I tell him you're born with it. तो बोलता है मैंने कारपेंटरिंग तो की है ना, उस पे आई होन माय क्राफ्ट विद थिएटर एंड ऑल दैट, व्हिच नसीर डिड आफ्टर एनएसडी, in NSD and Film Institute. She was doing it from age 4. So film after film after film was a training ground. And she was working with the masters. Eventually, though, she worked with all the top South directors before she came to Bombay. When
She
I
had
met her,
literally grown up on film sets.
absolutely. Plus, she had that intuitive emotional intelligence, which she could take to any level. And her talent of grasping a scene was very fast. If I was telling her, I could see her eyes working, her mind working. That intelligence you can see. You don't have to be like a say Shabana Azmi who's eloquent and well read and everything and a very good actress. Sridevi didn't need to do that, because when all the other actors and actresses from Amitabh Bachchan to Shah Rukh and to Nasir were going to school and college, this one was going to a studio to do what she was born for. The war advantage was immense. And then you become tall, and then you are a good dancer, and so all those hathyars were there with her. When I met her, she was 24. She had done 250 films. When I told her this is a good scene, it's a new scene, she's saying, forget new, give me a script I've not done. I've done every scene, every script. Tell me anything. I've done. Because, of course, when we got friendlier and then she would, praise herself, pehle to she's somebody who doesn't talk. She keeps quiet. But when she opened out, she was great fun. Wacky sense of humor.
Was it pretty clear, like right from the beginning? Like, I don't know the sequence that you shot the film in, but right from her entry, sequence where she does that action, was it pretty clear that she's going to blow the doors off in
No,
this
no,
movie?
that we knew. That I knew. The moment Purnachandra said, yes, let's do it, I knew that I'm going to hit a sixer.
Oh, from
I had
that
no
point
doubt
on.
about that.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Both I was dead sure. Then I collected all her South movies, and I got Saroj home, and Saroj and me sat and watched her film. And then I would tell Saroj, this is a good dance moment with Chiranjeevi, she's done this. Dak Dak, where Dak Dak was taken. So she said, look, listen, let's go above all this, okay? Because you're doing ad films, you shot a song in Jalwa without a choreographer, which was Archana's introduction scene. She's saying, आप ऐसी बातें कर रहे हो तो आप कुछ नया डालो ना, आप साउथ की पिक्चर्स में क्यों उठाऊं? Which is good, because that is again Saroj Khan. And now another thing is that I had Saroj with me. Saroj knew her. And Saroj, she was again somebody from the age of 10. She's in studios. ये दोनों का भरत मिलाप हो गया ना, तो that was a big advantage. And then the best part I found was Lakshmikant Parallel and Anand Bakshi. I was scared of all three of them. पहले sitting में गया, because this Lakshmikant ji's sitting room is, it's a scary place because it's huge. There are 4 tablas there, 3 dholaks there, and there is a little stage they sit on, and you sit in front like a king's darbar. And there's Anand Bakshi there. I'm used to my neighbors who are Anand Milan, my friends. I played cricket with, and Samir. We have Coca-Cola and Car Gymkhana. So ये मेरे दोस्त, मैंने तो इनके साथ पिक्चरें की है, और 3 पिक्चरें. अब actually अब आएगा मजा, पीछा करो, जलवा and Karamchand. I've done with these people. Suddenly you drive up to Juhu, you climb the stairs, you enter this huge room in a bungalow, and then these people are sitting. Were legends since I'm small, I'm sitting with them. And they ask you to sit. So I was nervous the first day, but I found them really friendly. And then Pyare Bhai called. I took some cassettes along, that I want jazz, I want this, I want there's Shakti, John McLaughlin. So Pyare Bhai called me to the side and said, I like your input. अरे सर मैं तो डरा हुआ हूँ, मैं तो डर डर के बजा रहा हूँ कि आप जॉन मैक्लाफन बजाऊंगा यहाँ पे वो त्रिलोक गुरुतु एंड ऑल दैट, तो आप मुझे निकाल दोगे यहाँ से। इसे नहीं नहीं, आई लाइक इट, आई लाइक इट। तो कितना तुम्हारा माइंड में जो भी है मेरे को बताओ, और अगर लक्ष्मी तुमको कुछ बोलता है, तुमको कुछ बोलना है, देयर इज अ डिफरेंस ऑफ ओपिनियन विद लक्ष्मी, यू कम टू मी। आई फेल्ट वेरी वार्म, दिस प्यारे लाल, आई मीन was genius. Then he told me one thing while going down the stairs. He's saying, शाम को क्या कर रहा है? I said, बोलो सर, बोले घर आ जा. That was for me like a dream, you know. He called me home. And there we chatted. Then I played him all the music and this. And then, because there were pieces in the film that were not songs, they were just music pieces. Where Sridevi dances, there was a Tandav.
Absolutely. Yeah, yeah. Iconic moments.
Yeah.
Since we are talking
Then
about the music, Pankaj, I wanted to ask you about the picturization of Na Jaane Kahan Se Aayi Hai. You know, there is rain and there is suddenly this band that shows up and starts playing in the rain. And it plays like very much like an MTV music video. And, you know, this is not something that you had done first. I mean, even the Jalwa song picturizations were very ahead of time, you know, is one way of putting it. But can you tell us more about the picturization of this song?
coincidences happened. I was doing some ads for an agency called Contract, and I went to, actually there's a very funny story in that. I went to Pyare Bhai's house in the night and I told him, sir, मेरे को रॉक चाहिए, लेकिन रॉक के साथ जैज चाहिए, कुछ जैज रॉक टाइप चाहिए, और कुछ मुखड़ा अंतरा में आई वांट, यू नो, बिकॉज बोथ शी इज ड्रंक, द होल बैंड पीपल आर ड्रंक, so I want some syncopated rhythm and something different and all that. So he went on the piano, he started playing something. I said, नहीं सर, ये ऐसा नहीं, मेरे को ऐसा चाहिए. Then I played him Jaco Pastrias का bass, one bass pattern. Then I played him Weather Report. तो ही सेइंग तुम हिंदी पिक्चर बना रहे, क्या कर रहा है? ऐसे नहीं, इसको अडेप्ट करना है, इसका फील चाहिए,
Right.
इसका फील चाहिए मुझे. नो, दिस इज द ग्रेट प्यारेलाल, ओके, who has done, I mean, for me he's a total genius. तो चाहिए क्या? Then I played him something else. I can't play music, I can't play the piano, nothing. मैं उसको कैसे बजा रहा हूँ उनके लिए. Then suddenly he closed that and he said, तू एक काम कर, तू ही कर ले, तू जा सुबह, मैं नहीं आता. My heart sank. You know, as he got offended. What he was planning was something else. He said, मैं 1 बजे आऊंगा. I said, sir, our shift is from 9 to 2. He's saying, ओवर शिफ्ट हो जाएगा गाना, मैं 1 बजे आता हूँ, तू 9:30 चला जा. Then he called the arranger. He said, देखो पंकज आ रहा है कल, वो उसके साथ बनाना तुम लोग बैठ के. अरेंजर को समझ नहीं आया क्या है. अब तू जा. I went home. Next day 9:30 I'm at Mehboob. The whole, you know, they are musicians. You've seen Mehboob studio. They're like 40 musicians here, 20 here. It's like a hall full of musicians. And they're all looking at me. Now I know zero music. I can't read a single note. So I go to a couple of my friends, like Sunil Kaushik, he's the guitarist. I told him, देख ऐसा ऐसा थोड़ा प्लान है, तो रिदम का, तो रिदम वाले को बुला दो. थोड़ा इलेक्ट्रॉनिक शुरू हो गया था उन दोनों, चक चक चिक चिक ऑल दैट. He was playing patterns to me. I said, I like that pattern, I like this pattern, I like that. अच्छा इसको बंद करो, यहाँ पे बेस डालो थोड़ा, ये करो वो करो, तो कुछ खिचड़ी विचड़ी कुछ बनाए. एंड देन प्यारे भाई एंटर एट 12:30. अच्छा सुनाओ 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 सुनाओ. So they started playing something. He said, Ruko. He went to the piano and then he composed that bass. Tung, 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 tung. He was playing on the piano and he was smiling. He was eating pan parag and smiling. और पीछे के दो बंदे, you know, they're like we write English, they write notes. Cut, 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 they were writing the notes. Then he asked him to play. तो ये बजा वो बजा. He chose the pattern. They played. पंकज जी ने क्या किया है? अच्छा ये, अच्छा ये. So he assembled all those things, made it according to his own, and then the song was born. 3 o'clock. Then we recorded. अब रिकॉर्ड हो गया, मैंने सरोज को बजाया, तो सरोज बोलती यार ये तो कुछ करना है, एक्स्ट्रा नहीं करना. तो she called Sridevi and she said, this has been recorded. Sridevi called me. I remember it was at BR Studio, she was dubbing. And she had a book. She said, okay, Mr. Ad Maker, Mr. Film Institute, tell me what you're going to do. इसको स्पेशल कैसे करोगे? I said, कुछ करते हैं. She said, कुछ करते हैं नहीं, मेरे को बताओ. मैंने पता है क्या क्या. So she opened that book and she showed me. वो रेनकोट रेनकोट she had sketched. She's a very good sketcher.
Okay.
She was. ये देखो श्रीदेवी का प्रेजेंट टेंस निकल आया गलती से, वॉच की जगह इस बोल रहा हूँ उनको. शी इज वेरी मच अलाइव इन हर फिल्म.
Yes, yes, of course.
तो शी सेड आई एम वेयरिंग गोइंग टू वेयर दिस, एंड दिस इज द टोपी, दिस इज ऑन टॉप, दिस इज व्हाट आई एम गोइंग टू वेयर. what are you doing? I said, okay, give me 1 day. मैं भागा contract ad agency. और वहाँ की creative head, she was my friend, this one was my friend, two, three of them. I said, sat down over here, I said, design me a bloody set. तो उन्होंने सेट वेट बनाया ऐसा. I said, अच्छा यहाँ से ये आता है, यहाँ से ये आता है, यहाँ पे ग्लास रखो, ये वो. तो सेट बना के शाम को मैं गया बिहार. I told her, here, this is the set, this is the storyboard. So what is the storyboard? I said, I've done short division of the song. You've done short division? I said, yeah, this is how it starts. And I'm going to use 50 का lens and 75 का lens max. उसके ऊपर नहीं जाऊंगा मैं. So she nodded to Saroj. And then she looked at Saroj. Saroj ji, क्या बोलते हो? आप कुछ ला रहे हो खास? You know what had happened? Sridevi had sensed that this song was something different. तो मेरे को सरोज को चैलेंज कर रही थी. And out of that was this, then when we went to the shoot, we had 3 days to shoot at Mehboob because there's going to be a strike in 3 days. ट्रक की स्ट्राइक. और बारिश का गाना कर रहे हैं. और मैडम को बुखार हो गया. और मैडम का सेक्रेटरी था हरी सिंह. हरी सिंह आया सेट पे दूसरे दिन. अच्छा, वी आर रनिंग बिहाइंड टाइम. तो आके बोलता है मैडम को बुखार है और अभी तुम पैकअप कर दो. ऐसे पागल है क्या? पैकअप करेंगे, सेट तोड़ जाएगा, नया नहीं मिलेगा, इसकी डेट नहीं है मैडम की, तू जा. सर नहीं नहीं नहीं, मैडम को तो बुखार है, बुखार में कैसे नाचेगी? आई टोल्ड श्री, ऐसे दिस व्हाट ही सेइंग. He said, wait 1 second. So she told Hari Singh, you वहां जाके खड़े होइए. He went and stood in the middle of the set. And she shouted rain, and the rain came. Hari Singh is standing there getting wet alone. And we have the dancers, we have the unit, everybody. Hari Singh is standing bang in the middle and it's raining. And she said, rain off, to rain off. We said, Hari Singh, abhi aap ghar jaiye. And she sent him home. He still remembers till today. Of course,
Wow.
if her mother had come to know, it would have. So we shot 3 days, challenged each other. सनी देओल डर गया डांस मूवमेंट देख के, बट किया उसने. Rehearsed, he did it. And then when it ended, you know what happened at the end? Everybody knows that. 2 o'clock in the night it ended. She stood there and she distributed money to everybody. 100 के note distributed.
Oh, wow.
And she told me, Pankuj, you've shot a classic. It got the Filmfare. Best song.
Yeah, it's a great song. And even today, I mean, one of the things that I noticed is that now the film is now 35 years, 36 years old. Even today, those songs still vibe.
Yeah. And when she used to have a show, this would be the last song. This would be the final song to play.
Concerts.
Chalo.
Concerts.
Concert mein, haan. Anyway, like I said, it all falls into place.
Pankaj, we have to talk about the Amba makeup scene. But before we go there, I just want to talk about Rohini Hattangadi for a minute. And you touched on this. So let me just pick it up from there. You cast her against type, both in Jalwa and Chalbaaz. An actress who was known for serious theater, parallel, and art house cinema. And you cast her as essentially a mid-level, like a drug lord in Jalwa, and as a Disney-esque stepmother in Chalbaaz, and that too in a very peculiar glam look. So you cast her against type in both these movies. What was that idea behind casting her in these two roles, and how did you get that idea? I mean, is it like a deliberate thing that you wanted to cast someone who is known for serious cinema in these very off-kilter roles, or was it just something that you thought Rohini Hattangadi would be well suited for?
She's from NSD.
Yes.
And when I was doing Karamchand, I think episode 3, it was written by Anil Chaudhary, some of the episodes, and he was she was his classmate in NSD. And there was a role of a school teacher who speaks Shuddh Hindi, like Scotch tape ko chikat patti bolti hai. And she falls for Karamchand, but she's a dowdy character, slightly plumpish. So he told me that Rohini is this theatre lady and she's fantastic. And Rohini hit it out of the park in that episode. She scored over Pankaj Kapoor, and highly appreciated. तो पहले 2 एपिसोड के बाद ये तीसरा took off. So she called me and she told me, I'm your lucky charm. Always take me in your film. तो जब जलवा अनाउंस हुई तो she called me and she said, मेरे को फोन नहीं आया. कास्ट क्यों नहीं किया? आई सेड ओ गॉड, लेट्स टेक हर फॉर दैट रोल बिकॉज इट्स डिफरेंट. तो उसको लिया. दैट्स व्हाई शी वाज कास्ट एज श्री बेबी.
Okay. And what's behind that name, Shri Baby?
वो श्रीदेवी, वी जस्ट
Okay.
पुलिंग श्रीदेवी ले, सबका मस्ती कर रहे थे ना उसमें. वो सईद मिर्जा का कितना मस्ती किया, अल्बर्ट पिंटो को गुस्सा क्यों आता है, रामू
Yes.
घड़ियाली, ऑल दैट. हाँ,
Yes.
Ramu
Yes.
Ghadiali, Hazaro, all that. There's another story behind that, which we won't go into. Because Saeed is my senior from FTI.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah, so 1 year we together. So Saeed was a heavy intellectual arty type, and I was the commercial boy in first year.
Right.
So
Right.
used to always pull my leg. कि तू तो बम्बई आया है, तो बॉक्स ऑफिस बनाएगा. तो जलवा में सारा उनका मस्त. It's a gang, you know, Kundan Shah and all were seniors.
Right. Right.
So
It's all in good
when
spirit, though. Yes. Yes.
yeah. So when Chalbaaz were announced, again she called. What role? I said, what? There's no role for you. Who's in the film? I said, Shakti Kapoor is there, Aruna Rani is there. She said, तो क्लीशे पिक्चर तो बना नहीं सकता. तो शक्ति कपूर, अरुणा रानी, तो कादर खान को भी ले ले, तो वही बना जो साउथ बना रहा है. एंड देन मैं सोचा एक दिन, एंड देन आई टोल्ड कमलेश सेड यार इसको इसको डाल दो, ये तो जीनियस कास्टिंग है. देन वी मेट, एंड देन शी सेड वी हैड आवर ड्रेस डिजाइनर हु वाज न्यू, लेट्स गो वाइल्ड ऑन हर. टू रोहिणी को ये सब देयर वेयर ये वो दिया उसको. दैट्स हाउ शी केम इन द फिल्म.
Boy, and did she hit it out of the park?
अरे शी इज एन एक्ट्रेस, नो एनएसडी है भाई.
Absolutely.
और सामने दूसरा एनएसडी अनुपम खेर, वो कोई कम है?
Yes. Yes.
हम्म.
But Pankaj, tell us more about that Amba makeup scene. There are a lot of stories about that on the internet, and I don't know how many of them are accurate. But what was there is some urban legend about it that apparently you were not happy with the makeup that the makeup artist did, and so Sridevi had to do the makeup herself with her own makeup.
Yeah.
Is that true?
No. She no. It was a unit makeup kit, but I was not getting. But I was not familiar with the ladies' makeup equipment. No, Sridevi was. So she said, "Isko मैं करती हूँ." So she did that, and then she looks at me and she says, "Can I spit on her?" I said, "No, don't spit on her. Spit on the brush." इस पे थूकू क्या? She actually said that, and Rohini got alarmed and went back. Obviously, she was joking. You know, you won't spit on her. He said, I'll spit on her cheek and then I'll do the makeup, you know. So I said, नहीं वो ज्यादा हो जाता है तो आप इस पे डालो. तो वो ब्रश पे she spits on it. And then I got Shakti. Shakti was shooting. I said, तू वो सीन के लिए आना, वो राजकुमार का नकल करके बताना. So Shakti did the full Rajkumar act and then Sridevi copied it. But we didn't know it was going to become like a, you know, iconic scene. वो तो कर लिया हमने.
Absolutely. I mean, I remember watching this as a kid, and that was, one of our favorite scenes, which back in the day, we used to rewind the VHS tape again and again and watch it.
Mm.
And Anupam Kher, Pankaj, I mean, of course, he's one of the legends. But again, there is this story about him that he wanted to do the role along the lines of a fairy tale villain. And he had this idea of a prosthetic nose that he got from Laurence Olivier and Richard III. Is that
Mm.
accurate, or that's again a legend?
No, it's pretty accurate. But all this fairy tale and all came later. उस टाइम पे तो मतलब ऐसा कुछ we did never use those words. But the fun part, if you want to hear, is that Paresh Rawal was signed for the role. He was given the signing amount. I never met him. We spoke on the phone. He met Purnachandar. He got his signing, and he told me on the phone कि इसको कैसा करना है. I said वो मिलके discuss करते हैं. Villain है, villain करता है जो करता है. Then Purnachandar called me and said, "Sir, there's a problem." I said, "What is the problem?" He said, "Anupam Kher is here." I said, "Okay." He's sitting on the floor. I said, "Why is he sitting on the floor?" He said, "Because he's saying कि ये बैनर में परेश रावल कैसे आ गया. मैं खाना नहीं खाऊंगा, पानी नहीं पीऊंगा, उसको निकालो, मेरे को डालो चालबाज में." And Anupam being Anupam, I said, "Okay, take him. He's my friend." So Purnachandra got surprised कि the directors agreed. अब ये दोस्त है मेरा अनुपम, एनएसडी फिल्म इंस्टीट्यूट साथ में थे 6 महीना. There's a long story behind that which I won't go about our friendship. I take him, but you deal with Paresh. You take that on your head. मेरे को दुश्मन नहीं बनाना. I'm working with Paresh now for the first time. Can you imagine from then till now I've never worked with him? अभी मैं काम कर रहा हूँ उनके साथ. तो अनुपम ने ये कर दिया कि उनको मेरी जिंदगी से निकाल दिया. So Anupam came in, and then we met. He had done Picha Karo with me. He had done an episode of Karamchand and all that. And then FTI we were together where. So he said कुछ लाते हैं कुछ यार मेरे को प्राण वान नहीं करना. चाबुक का सीन तो है सब कुछ है मीन है तो उसमें कुछ कॉमेडी वाला टच लाते हैं. That was it. But when he's hard, he's hard. But then we gave him the song गड़बड़ हो गई all that. तो उसका जो 360 डिग्री है ना अनुपम का वो सब आया. कॉमेडी भी आया और वो चाबुक भी मारता है मार भी खाता है. But there
And the
was an
funny
ease to
thing,
work with him. हाँ बोलो.
the funny thing is that I think this was the first time that both Anupam Kher and Rohini Attangadi worked together after Saransh. And their characters in
Yeah.
this movie,
Yeah.
as
Yeah.
compared to that movie, I mean, there it's like chalk and cheese. And so it's
Yeah.
really, striking to see them do a completely different dance here.
Yeah. There was a lot of ease working with Anupam because
Right.
there was familiarity, there was friendship, all that. No? So,
And the one more thing about Anupam Kher's character and the way that he has, performed in that role, it's actually an evil role, right? But it never feels like it always, the funny element of that is always overpowering. Right. So, I mean, you never like kind of really hate him. I mean, maybe, once, maybe when he hits Sridevi, initially, that's when you kind of hate him. But after that, he becomes like this, like I said, also a very like Disney-esque kind of, character that they're supposed to be evil, but at the same time, there is a little hint of humor to them.
yeah. Also, he had Shakti Kapoor opposite him, no?
Yes, yes.
Shakti Kapoor, see, what they were doing was they complement each other and Anupam would never do something which Shakti would do. Shakti would call me 12 o'clock in the night and wake me up. अभी हम outdoor में हैं. हम लोग shooting कर रहे हैं and I want to sleep early and get up early and go to the set. He'll call me at 12 and tell me मेरे को scene आया. Because what he's doing is racking his brain because सामने अनुपम है तो वो सोच रहा है मैं कैसे score करूं. So this greed or this desire to score is fantastic because then the best thing he pushes the director. मैं ऐसा करूंगा ये करूंगा वो करूंगा. अनुपम नहीं करता था. सेट पे आके मैंने बोला तो अनुपम ने ये कब आ गया कब ऐड किया. मैं बोला शक्ति ने रात को फोन किया मेरे को चल इम्प्रोवाइज कर. So they work in tandem. जैसे वो मैं नन्ना सा मुन्ना सा that is Shakti's line. It is not in the script. And then I told him कि you get beaten by Sridevi when you come. So he said give me half an hour. And because then Anupam said ये साला कुछ करेगा ये कुछ तिगड़म लाएगा. And when Shakti walked onto the set all broken with all the bandages, we just burst out laughing. तो किया उसने.
Shakti
और ये
Kapoor
तो
also
master है
one
ना.
actor that doesn't get the credit he deserves. He's such a great actor.
And he's great fun. He's my senior again from FTI. तो ये पूरा भाईचारा है. But having done so many films, so successful, everything and all that, when he came to me, he was a entity. But desire बहुत थी to score. He's got success. I mean, I don't know whether due and all that, but मिला तो है success.
Pankaj,
और
we got to talk about Kamlesh Pandey's dialogues. I believe this was the second time you were working with him, right? Because you had worked with him in Jalwa.
yeah.
And
No, he had also written few episodes of Karamchand.
oh, okay. Okay, I see. So perhaps the third time. There are some amazing dialogues in this film. And,
Like which one? You have to tell me which
Sure,
one.
sure,
Then I tell
sure,
you
sure. I have a whole list. So one of my favorite is essentially, Sridevi's entry scene, where there is a line that says, "Sab do din ka khela hai, beech beech mein income tax ka jamela hai."
That is Kamlesh.
Yes. Then there is also there is that interesting, scene where there was three people that Manju owes money to, and one of them is probably a grocer, and he keeps reminding Manju that "Tumne mera namak khaya hai, tumne mera namak khaya hai." It's a very simple line, but it comes off so hilariously because it's literally he's probably lent her salt. So that's the funny one. And then what I found very interesting is that there is this line that Sridevi says at least twice. I believe it's I remember it's at least twice, but she says that something to the order of "मैं एक औरत इस मर्दों की बनाई दुनिया में खड़ी हूँ."
That's Kamlesh. That is pure
Yes.
Kamlesh.
So there is also this little feminist tinge to her character there. And
Total feminist in there.
yes. And then, of course, the famous
But
Rajnikant.
but that line when she says कि मैं इन मर्दों की दुनिया में खुद खड़ी रहना चाहती हूँ, बार टेंडर से दूसरों की बियर पीना चाहती हूँ. That line is mine.
Yes, that is a great
हाँ.
line. Some of,
And even the bar scene where she goes and she says, "Look, Mr. Daruwala,"
yeah.
and she buys the beer, thandi beer though, and she takes out the money back from that. That was improvised right there on the
Yeah.
set.
I'm gonna venture a guess that this Rajnikant line is also yours. I might be wrong. This might be Kamlesh's, but there is that
No,
scene
it's
when.
mine. I know what you're going to say. That line is totally mine.
So
आज
what?
आज आज
what-
आज संडे है, दिन में दारू पीने का डे है. That is my line.
that I know that is your line. I'm not talking. Of course, that is definitely. But there is this scene where Rajnikant returns with the alcohol that he had taken from the bar.
Yeah.
And the bartender says, "क्या हुआ जग्गू भाई?" And he says, "भैया गांधी जी ने कहा है दारू वापस ले लो."
हाँ.
So,
That is Kamlesh. Yeah.
oh, that is Kamlesh. Okay.
हाँ. But that line, मैं पीऊँ, मेरे बच्चे पिए, मेरे पड़ोसी में सब लोग पिए, तुमको क्या है? That is रजनीकांत.
Right.
That is not in the script. अब उनका रजनीकांत ने बोला वही.
And that Rajnikant's so दारू scene that आज संडे आज दिन में दारू पीने का scene है.
That's my line.
Yes.
And even the line when he says वो तुम्हारा घर है, बोले मेरा घर इसी से ये जग्गू है, ये टैक्स, ये पूरब है, ये पश्चिम है, ये उत्तर है, ये दक्षिण है, जग्गू है, टैक्स है. मैंने दोनों देखे हैं. क्या? She says पूरा पश्चिम उत्तर दक्षिण. That's my line.
That's great. So a lot of people actually from of this generation might not get that, but because those are two films that are very famous films. But let me ask you this, Pankaj, whose idea was it to garnish Rajnikant's drink with a potato chip?
That is him. That whole thing, Nimbu, that is totally him.
That was that was literally the cherry on the cake. That it's not the salt and the lemon, but the way he garnishes it with a potato chip. Really love that. And the Kader Khan cameo. Oh, we got to talk about that. A blind beggar who tells Shakti Kapoor that things are so bad with him lately that 2 दिन से खाना नहीं खाया है और 4 दिन से पिक्चर नहीं देखा है.
Picture नहीं देखा. That whole is Kader and Shakti. Those two. सीन था ऐसा बेसिक, उन्होंने उधर बैठ के होटल में, वो वी शॉट इन जू, होटल में बैठ के किया दोनों ने.
How did Kader
And that
Khan
line-
come in the picture?
I had to have a Kader Khan Shakti Kapoor scene. So I told Kamlesh, we have to have this. तो वो script में it has no meaning. If you remove it, it doesn't make a damn difference. But I wanted him to arrive in his chaddi and banyan at the house with that empty trunk. He's that much of a lowly life, Shakti. So I said, उसको let him be robbed, and obviously Kader Shakti का तो पैर है, तो and Kader Khan Purnachandra called him, so he came and he did it. And that line about उसका वहां जाना कैसे है, तो वो शक्ति को एंड में बोलता ना, यहाँ से सीधा, फिर लेफ्ट, फिर लेफ्ट, फिर लेफ्ट, फिर तुम यहाँ आओगे, मैं तुमको फिर से लूट लूंगा. That's my line. But the whole thing about that woman and the place of the woman, Sita, Salma, Suzy, all that is Kamlesh. And lines like तुम्हें धरती कम पड़ेगी भागने के लिए, that is Kamlesh Pandey.
I
And
remember there is
Batuknath
a similar scene in Jalwa with you in it, where Naseeruddin asked for directions, and those two drunk guys.
Same. Yeah, that's me and my cameraman playing the role. Yeah, say left, फिर left, फिर left. Yeah.
So you said Shakti Kapoor's Balma was that was his improvisation, but the name
No.
Batuknath, that was not his.
No, Batuknath Lallan Prasad Malpani is Kamlesh.
Okay.
That's
and
him.
and even okay, and the Balma thing,
that is Kamlesh. But the way what Shakti played with it, no? मुझे बलमा बलमा, all that he improvised on the set. और शक्ति श्रीदेवी together, they know what to do. 15 तो पिक्चर करके आए थे पहले साउथ की सारी. So they were very familiar with each other's style and each other's, sense of humor.
Yeah, one of the great things about Chalbaaz is like all these pairs, working off each other, right? You have Rajni and Sridevi working off each other. You have Anupam Kher, Rohini Attangadi working off each other. You have Shakti Kapoor, Kader Khan, Shakti Kapoor, Sridevi. And all of them are great actors. And that's why, like you said, they kind of step up their game because, they want to match up to what the other person is offering. So, and that's what
Also, Rajni, he superstar, he was down south when I did the movie.
Right.
He still is. He had no ego about being hassled by Sridevi. He's getting scared of ghosts and all that. So he just caught on to that and he made that into a characteristic of he's scared of ghosts. और 4-5 बार पिक्चर में करता है वो. Because when she says ooh and he gets scared and all that, and also भूत आ गया, अरे भूत आ गया, he gets scared of that. And when she comes to his house in the night and says मेरे को डर लग, तेरे को डर लग रहा है, तो ऐसे तो सब डरते. He played the comic touch and heroine से डर रहा है, heroine डरा रही है, तो he didn't mind that, but it created comedy. So he didn't have any ego problem. Otherwise, the hero says, I'm a fighting hero. What am I doing? I'm not going to do this. He never did that ever. Off the screen conversation with Rajni was fantastic because he would talk about his earlier days and it was great fun. And he was highly spiritual. He is still.
Is it true that after the movie, the way that Sunny Deol's role was built, he was a little unhappy about it and he wanted it to be a special appearance?
The conversation might have happened with the producer, but he knew exactly with what scenes and what his role was. He was not happy with on the set sometime when we were doing the song with Sridevi because the dancers and Saroj were on the side of Sridevi. That was quite apparent. So that would bother him a little. So
But it
that
wasn't like he was sidelined or anything, right? I mean, it's just
no,
happened.
no, not at all. In fact, after this, I signed NNCP movie and I called Sunny on the phone and he said, okay, to it on the phone. We never made the movie because we were going to do Pretty Woman, but then Pretty Woman is a Hollywood movie. So Sridevi never signed. So he didn't have any problem with me. But set पे थोड़ा होता था, डांसर थोड़ा स्निगर वगर करते थे, and they are naughty boys, no?
Right, right. Like we said, we talked about this before, but Chalbaaz is, like you said, was essentially based on Sita or Gita and Ram or Sham. It's an age-old story. Yet, when you watch this film today, it's immensely entertaining. It's immensely rewatchable. Like I said, it has a Disney comedy feel to it. The humor still lands, the gags still work, the songs still vibe, all of the songs. And there is hardly a dull moment in the film. Now, when you look back at this film, like almost 35, 36 years, what do you think is behind its enduring appeal? I mean, I know that, like you said, you can never tell, how things come together. But for that film to age so well, what do you think is some of the reasons behind that?
See, one thing is that I cannot distance myself from the film to comment on that.
That's true. You cannot be objective about it, right?
Yeah. So I obviously when I see it, I'm entertained. There's another thing is that which I learned in the film institute is from the great master Satyajit Ray, that there is a particular lens for a particular scene. So if you use that lens and that grammar as in if I take one shot of yours in the opposite angle, there's a particular angle and a place. There's only one place to put the camera to hit that perfectly. So Ray ko dekh ke, I learned a lot of that placing and lenses. I told Sridevi also, I said, your face, I cannot come close more than 10 feet if I'm using 50. Then I go to a 75 mm. I'm getting technical now. But the lenses and the camera placing was in a way highly cinematic that it lives forever. So I don't know if I'm able to explain that. So if you see any other film of hers at that time and see this one, you'll find that film looking old. This you'll not find looking old. I'm not doing self-praise, but I'm just telling you a full cinematic thing.
And you're saying the reason behind that is the framing?
The framing and the angle of the cut. because if two people are talking, I can't explain to you on over here, but there is a particular way to cut to the opposite angle and a particular angle, and sticking to particular lenses. You see the uh, makeup scene, for instance.
Right.
You go and see it now. When she enters, look at the block. When she falls on the bed, look at the block. It's top angle, tack, tack, two cuts are there. That is, I won't say way ahead of its time, but that is proper cinema. Or even a small thing, like when the younger brother is playing the cassette, he said, Didi nacho na. If you look at those shots now, go back and see it, they're three cut, tuck, tuck, tuck. His hands go into that. When Rohini and Anupama meeting each other in the beginning near the titles, you see a wide angle, then you see close, 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 close. There are four cuts there of just them walking. This is cinema. So the film is full of that, which filmmakers know. बट जनता को क्या है, उनको अच्छा क्यों लगता है, उनको वो इस वजह से मॉडर्न लगती है पिक्चर.
Right.
So
And
this
true
is
reason for the timelessness of the film is the way that it
yeah, I know that. Now you know it too. So you watch it now, you'll understand.
And what's
That's
the latest on the ChaalBaaz reboot?
I don't think I should do it
Why is that?
because there is no Sridevi.
Yeah.
अच्छा उसको छोड़ो, वो पीक पे कौन था तभी? अनुपम था, शक्ति, रजनी, सनी, लक्ष्मीकांत प्यारेलाल, सरोज. It was a amalgamation of these people. तो पंगा क्यों लूं मैं? कुछ और नहीं बनाऊं? मैं बना रहा हूं अभी. It's better to do something. Why go into that territory? Ramesh Sippy is not going to make Sole.
But so initially, when this project was kind of, the ball was set rolling, you were on board on this project, right? You wanted to do the reboot, or you were reluctant to do it even at that point?
I thought about it for sure. Then I became wiser after the fact.
Right. I mean, Sridevi is irreplaceable. So, there is no way that you're going to be able to, create her magic. But it
Yeah.
could be a different way of reimagining that film. So.
No, whatever I do, there'll be a lot of flack, no matter what.
That is
because
true.
उसके level का कोई है नहीं ना. तो तांडव किया उसने जो, but she objected to it. She said, no, Anju can't dance. Anju is scared. उसको मनाना पड़ा, but जब मान गई तो look at what she did.
Absolutely.
And she's gone on record to say I'm the best director she's worked with in print.
Oh, is it?
Showtime
Okay,
magazine.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. उसके biography में page 44 पे. I told her, why did you tell this earlier? She's saying, I didn't want to make enemies in the industry because she's worked with all the legends down south. So imagine that compliment coming from her.
Yeah.
Anyway,
a lot of people don't know this, that she had done, upwards of 200 films before. She really hit it big in the Hindi film industry. So. Finally, Pankaj, we're going to play a round of rapid fire game I call Shoot, where I'm going to ask you questions or ask you to pick between two options. And you're going to shoot back answers without thinking for too long.
Okay.
Just, instantaneously. Ready?
Okay. Yeah.
Last Hindi film that blew you away.
That's a very difficult question.
Okay, take 30 seconds.
Oh, this is not rapid fire. Next question.
Oh, wow. Okay. Last American film that you found majorly overrated.
Series I can talk about? Or
Sure.
Adolescence.
Animal or Pushpa?
Animal. Pushpa is the same old Amitabh Bachchan thing. Animal is something new.
Amar Akbar Anthony or Diwar?
Amar Akbar Anthony, any day.
Most underrated actor of today, in your opinion?
Arshad Warsi.
An actress you would love to work with today?
Alia Bhatt.
Favorite Shah Rukh Khan film of all time?
Dar.
Rishikesh Mukherjee's Chupke Chupke or Golmaal?
Chupke Chupke.
Pyasa or Mr. and Mrs. 55?
Pyasa.
If you had to reboot Karam Chand today, who would you cast in the lead?
Arshad Warsi.
One film of yours which you wish you could redo.
Himali Putra.
One film of yours which you wish more people would discover.
Pita Karo.
Okay. And by the way, we have done a podcast on that. So if you do wish to discover, do listen to that episode. Well, thank you so much, Pankaj. This was fun. Talking about a great film of yours. Last time we didn't get too much time to talk about Chalbaaz, but I think today we got a good 1 hour to talk about this. So thank you so much.
More than an hour.
Yes, to be precise. Yes.
Chalo, great. You managed to make me talk about one film for more than an hour. That's fantastic.
I hope I didn't bore you with the same kind of questions.
No, I just now Preeti Zinta tweeted which is a film, 2 or 3 films that she can see again and again. So she said, Kuch Kuch Hota and ChaalBaaz.
Oh, did she? Okay. Let me see if I can tag her on Twitter when I release this episode.
And I met Rani Mukherjee 2 weeks back, and she said she was giving me dialogues.
Yes.
Chani hai, chaku hai. She was telling me all those dialogues. She said my favorite film. Whenever I'm down, I see it. So ye to chalta rehta hai, people. I didn't know at that time that it's going to live for so long. You know, you never think of that. But then that's life. So I'll tell you the classic line. Picture abhi baki hai, mere dost.
Yes. Oh, by the way, would you wish to talk about what you're working on right now?
No. There is a proper announcement, all that. Promo, all that. It's a new world now.
Thanks for keeping that response short, Pankaj.
It's a new world.
Yes. Well, great. Okay. I look forward to what you're working on next. Thank you so much.
Chalo. Thanks a lot.
Good night. Bye-bye. If you liked the episode, do consider supporting the show. Your support will help me continue creating content like this. You can find the link for supporting the show in the show notes and on the pod website. Also, do share this episode on Twitter, Insta, or Facebook. And do subscribe, rate, and review the pod wherever you listen to your pods. You can follow me on Twitter and Insta at loveofcinemasf8. Feel free to reach out there or by email with your comments, feedback, and suggestions. You can find my email in the show notes. That's the episode. This is Himanshu signing off. And as always, thank you for listening to the Love of Cinema podcast.
Free audio post-production by alphonic.com.